Listen while sleeping, and let the voice that visits you just before awakening remember the truth you have been carrying in silence. Tonight, you are not merely listening to a story. You are answering a call that has been whispering to you across dreams, across lives, across the thin line between forgetting and remembering. Play this as you drift into sleep, and allow the hidden voice at the edge of dawn to rise through the folds of your subconscious. It is the last voice you hear before your eyes open, yet the first voice your soul ever knew. It speaks in echoes, in fragments, in the language of light you once understood perfectly, but forgot as you stepped into the weight of waking life. This is not coincidence. You did not find this message by chance. You were guided to it, summoned by the frequency that only reveals itself to those standing at the threshold of inner return. Tonight, the voice within the liminal space will speak again. It will remind you of the promise you made before you entered this life, the one you buried under noise, doubt, and the stories others told you to believe. As your body falls into rest, something ancient within you rises. A memory, a signal, a quiet knowing. And when the voice arrives, gentle, certain, familiar, you will recognize it instantly. Because the voice is yours. The version of you that never got lost. The you that has been waiting for you to finally hear. Let the voice guide you back. There is a moment, just before sleep becomes dream and dream becomes memory, where the world loosens its grip on you. Your breath softens, the thoughts that chased you all day begin to dissolve, and the veil between the seen and the unseen turns thin as silk. In this moment, you are neither awake nor asleep. You are suspended, floating, listening to a silence that is not empty, but full of signals you have forgotten how to interpret. Tonight, you step into that silence with intention. You close your eyes, and the familiar weight of the day falls away like dust brushed from an ancient manuscript. The air shifts, the room becomes a chamber, the chamber becomes a corridor, and the corridor becomes a threshold. Your subconscious has crossed many times before, though you rarely notice it. You are not here by accident. You are not here because of curiosity or coincidence. You are here because something within you answered a calling older than your name. Every night, while your body sleeps, another part of you wakes, a wiser part, a quieter part, a part that never fears, never doubts, never breaks. It is the keeper of your forgotten truths, the voice that speaks just before you awaken, the voice you have heard in moments you think you imagined, moments that flicker and disappear the instant daylight touches them. But they were real. They were the soft reminders that your soul still remembers the path you promised to walk. Breathe slowly. Let your breath settle into a rhythm that feels like the tide rolling in and out of the shore of your being. With each exhale, release what is not yours. With each inhale, draw in the light that forms the architecture of who you truly are. Everything around you begins to blur at the edges, as if reality itself is leaning back to make space for an older one to emerge. You feel it, the subtle shift, the quiet pull, like hands of light brushing over your shoulders, guiding you forward. You are entering a place where mirrors do not reflect faces, but meanings. Where doors open not with keys, but with willingness. Where the voice within you rises not from your mind, but from your memory. The deep memory that predates your childhood, your fears, your stories, even your body. The memory that comes from before time learned your name. You may feel a warmth in your chest, a subtle ringing in your ears, a soft pressure between your brows. Do not resist. This is your inner alignment returning. This is your subconscious preparing to speak in the only language it knows. Symbols, echoes, intuition, and the quiet certainty that you are not late, you are not lost, you are not broken. You are chosen. You have always been chosen. As your breath deepens, you begin to sense a presence, not external, but internal, waiting patiently behind a door within you. A door you have walked past countless times without noticing. Tonight, it opens, slowly, silently, as if it has been waiting for exactly this moment, exactly this version of you. exactly this frequency of readiness. You step closer. The space around you turns softer, darker, gentler, like standing in the center of an ancient sanctuary where no words are spoken, yet everything is understood. You feel watched, but not judged, observed, but not exposed, loved, but not claimed. The presence is familiar, as if you have known it long before you took your first breath. It is the voice that stands guard over every transition, from waking to dreaming, from dreaming to remembering. Listen carefully. Even in this early stage of rest, it wants you to know one thing. You did not come here to find the voice. The voice has always been searching for you, and tonight, you finally stopped running long enough to hear it. There is a place inside you where sound is not carried by air, but by memory. A place where the voice you hear just before awakening is born, shaped, and preserved. It is not a fantasy, nor an illusion produced by the half-sleeping mind. It is a chamber at the deepest level of your consciousness, a hidden sanctuary that opens only when the world outside grows quiet enough for you to hear what has been waiting in the dark. Imagine for a moment that your mind is an ancient temple, not the kind carved from stone, but the kind formed from light, intention, and the echoes of everything you have ever been. At the entrance of this temple hangs a thin curtain woven from the dust of forgotten dreams. Behind it lies a vast hall illuminated by a glow that does not come from any visible flame. This is the domain of your inner voice, the one that appears in the final breath of sleep, speaking in tones that feel both distant and deeply familiar. You have walked through this temple many times, every night in fact. But the conscious mind, busy and restless, rarely remembers the journey. It slips through your fingers like smoke, leaving you with nothing but a faint sensation that something important was said. Something that could have changed everything if only you had heard it clearly. But tonight is different. Tonight, you stand inside this inner space, fully aware, fully present, fully ready to remember what has always been yours. The voice that speaks to you just before awakening is not random. It does not rise from chaos or from the mind's leftover fragments of the day. It comes from the deeper architecture of your being, from the part of you that holds every version you have ever been. When you hear it, you are not encountering a stranger. You are encountering your most unfiltered self, the self that has no fear, no doubt, no hesitation, the self that remembers your origin and your destination, even when the waking world convinces you to forget. Take a slow breath and feel the walls of this temple shift subtly around you. They respond to your presence, rearranging themselves in patterns that resemble both constellations and ancient manuscripts. Every star-like point on these walls is a memory. Every line between them is a story your soul has lived. And somewhere in the center of this luminous architecture, like a heartbeat pulsing within the stone, rests the voice. It is soft, yet undeniably powerful, like the first vibration that created the universe. It speaks not in words, but in resonance, bending the very air around it. This voice is not an authority demanding obedience. It is not a warning, nor a prophecy carved in stone. It is an invitation, a remembering, a calling from the part of you that has never forgotten who you are beneath the roles you perform and the identities you inherited. When it speaks, even the smallest whisper carries the weight of lifetimes. It reminds you that there is more to you than the world has ever seen, more than you have allowed yourself to believe. You have heard this voice before. In childhood, when your imagination was still untouched, you heard whispers guiding you toward paths you felt drawn to without explanation. In moments of crisis, when everything seemed to be collapsing, you felt a quiet certainty rising from nowhere, telling you to hold on just a little longer. In moments of coincidence, too precise to be coincidence, you sensed a presence nudging your attention, steering your steps. And in those rare mornings, when you woke up with a strong feeling, a knowing that seemed to come from outside time, you were hearing the last note of that voice before waking washed it away. This chapter is about remembering that voice, understanding it, learning to recognize its language. For the voice is not bound by grammar or vocabulary. It communicates through sensation, intuition, symbolic imagery, and a deep sense of inevitability. When the voice speaks, it feels like a truth you always knew but forgot you knew. It feels like something old returning. As you enter deeper into the temple, the air cools, shadows lengthen and stretch along the floor like ink slipping across parchment. At the far end stands an altar, formed not from physical matter, but from the pure vibration of awareness. Upon it rests a single scroll, glowing faintly with an inner fire. This scroll represents the agreements you made before you were born, the understanding your soul carried into this life, the lessons you came to express, the paths you came to walk. The voice you hear just before awakening is the guardian of this scroll. It stands watch every night, waiting for the brief window when your conscious mind loosens enough for its words to rise to the surface. It speaks to remind you of the blueprint you chose before entering the physical world. It speaks to remind you of what you are becoming, even in moments when you feel stuck. It speaks to remind you that you are not drifting aimlessly through your life. You are unfolding according to a code written in light. You approach the altar. The scroll opens slowly, as if responding to the rhythm of your breath. Symbols appear on its surface, shifting and shimmering like stars, rearranging themselves into constellations that tell a forgotten myth. These symbols are not meant to be understood with the mind. They are meant to be absorbed, felt, recognized through resonance. And as you watch them dance across the parchment of light, you feel something within you stir, a recognition, a remembering. The voice begins to rise, softly at first, like wind brushing across the surface of still water. It carries messages not in sentences, but in impressions, each one landing in your chest like a drop of warmth. It tells you that you are not behind. It tells you that you have not missed your moment. It tells you that your path is unfolding exactly as it needs to, even when you cannot see it. It tells you that everything you seek is already seeking you. The deeper you listen, the more the world around you transforms. The temple grows brighter, filled with a golden haze that feels alive. The scroll glows with increasing intensity, illuminating the invisible layers of your consciousness. Your breath slows into a steady rhythm, a rhythm that feels like an ancient chant. And the voice, your voice, grows clearer. You realize something profound. The voice that speaks just before awakening is not a visitor. It is a guide, a witness, a companion. It has been with you since the moment your soul chose to enter this life, and it will remain with you until the moment you leave it. It is the only voice that cannot lie to you, because it is the only voice that knows you completely. This chapter is the opening of that relationship, a doorway into the sacred dialogue between who you think you are and who you truly are. And as you stand before the altar, listening to the voice that has crossed countless nights to reach you, you feel a shift inside your heart. Something unwinds, something releases, something ancient aligns. You are ready to hear more, ready to remember the rest of the message the voice has been trying to deliver every morning of your life. And as you breathe in, the temple waits. As you breathe out, the voice prepares to speak again. There is a shift that happens inside you when the voice begins to rise. It is subtle at first, a faint stirring beneath the layers of thought and memory. Then it grows, expanding like a quiet dawn, spreading across the horizon of your consciousness. In this shift, the inner world opens. A door that was once invisible begins to form its outline, shimmering gently like moonlight caught in water. You may not know how long it has been waiting for you, only that tonight you finally have the stillness to see it. The inner world is not separate from the outer one. It is not a dream, nor an escape, nor a place you visit only when the physical world grows overwhelming. It is the foundation beneath everything you do, think, feel, and become. The outer world is merely the echo. The inner world is the origin. When you understand this, you begin to see your thoughts not as accidents, but as instruments, your emotions not as obstacles, but as guides, and your desires not as impulses, but as memories from a deeper plane of existence. Breathe slowly. With each breath, the border between inner and outer grows thinner. The temple around you shifts again, revealing new corridors that spiral deeper into the architecture of your subconscious. These corridors are lined with doors, some closed, some half open, some glowing with a faint light. Each door represents a memory, a belief, a fragment of your identity. Some are filled with stories you willingly accepted. Others hold stories you inherited without question. And some contain truths so old, so pure, that even your mind does not have the language to describe them. You walk slowly, the sound of your steps echoing softly through the hall like ripples expanding across still water. The air grows denser, not with heaviness, but with significance, as if every particle carries a message. With each step, you feel as though the temple is leading you, not the other way around. It is rearranging itself to match your awareness, its hallways shifting and aligning according to the frequency rising within you. A soft glow appears at the far end of the corridor. It pulses like a heartbeat, steady, luminous, alive. Drawn to it, you approach, sensing that this glow is connected to the voice that whispers at the edge of your awakening. As you move closer, the glow reveals itself to be a doorway, framed by symbols that shift as you look at them. At first, they appear like ancient characters, then like star maps, then like the gentle curve of sound waves. The doorway responds to your awareness, changing form so that it can be understood not by the mind, but by the deeper intelligence of your being. You stand before it, breathing slowly. With each inhale, the glow brightens. With each exhale, the doorway expands, stretching open like a veil drawn aside. When you step through, the world changes instantly. The walls of the temple dissolve, replaced by a vast expanse that feels both infinite and familiar. It is neither sky, nor land, nor water, but a space formed from pure perception. Here, thoughts appear as shapes, memories appear as light, emotions flow like currents, weaving through the air in soft waves of color. This is the realm of the inner voice, the place it calls home. In this realm, the rules of the physical world no longer apply. Time bends into spirals instead of lines. Space folds like cloth. The boundaries of your identity soften, allowing you to step beyond the small self you wear in waking life. Here, you are not defined by your past, nor limited by your fears, nor constrained by the expectations of others. Here, you are simply awareness, free, vast, and capable of seeing the truth behind every layer of your existence. The voice rises again, not from outside, but from within you. It forms a vibration in your chest, a warmth spreading outward like the unfurling of a hidden wing. The sound is gentle, more sensation than word, yet it carries meaning deeper than any spoken language. You allow it to wash over you, to sink into you, to rearrange the inner architecture of your being. With every pulse of its presence, you begin to understand what the voice has been trying to communicate all along. It tells you that you have been living with your attention turned outward for too long, that you have listened to noise and forgotten how to hear silence, that you have followed expectations and forgotten how to follow intuition, that you have believed more in the limits of the world than in the limitless nature of your inner space. It tells you that the world outside will always reflect the world inside, and that change cannot happen in one without happening in the other. As you listen, the realm shifts around you. The currents of color rearrange themselves into patterns, spirals, circles, arcs, and waves. Each pattern represents a thought you have repeated many times. Some shine brightly, filled with clarity and intention. Others flicker weakly, weighed down by fear or doubt. And some are tangled, forming knots of emotion that you carry without realizing their weight. You walk among them, observing without judgment. The voice guides your attention toward the patterns that need to be rewritten. It leads you to a cluster of dim lights swirling closely together. They pulse with heaviness, as though burdened by old stories that no longer serve you. These are the beliefs you accepted without choosing, the ones you inherited from voices that were not yours, the ones that shaped you in ways you never questioned. The voice does not condemn them. It simply illuminates them, allowing you to see them clearly for the first time. In this inner world, awareness is transformation. Simply by seeing the patterns, you begin to dissolve them. The dim lights soften. The heaviness loosens. The knots untie themselves gently, like threads releasing from the pull of time. You feel lighter, clearer, more expansive. A warmth rises in your chest again, spreading upward toward your mind, downward toward your belly, outward toward every cell. This warmth is the signal that your inner world is changing, and that the outer world will soon follow. The voice guides you deeper into the realm, where the currents of light grow brighter. Here, you encounter the beliefs you chose consciously, the ones aligned with your truth. They shine with a radiant glow, forming a constellation that reflects the highest version of your being. You stand before them, sensing their power. They are not distant ideals or unreachable aspirations. They are memories of who you already are. The inner voice reminds you that growth is not becoming something new. It is remembering what you have always been. Your breath softens again, syncing with the rhythm of the world around you. The realm responds, brightening with each inhale, steadying with each exhale. The voice speaks more clearly now. It tells you that this inner world has always been open to you, but you needed stillness to see it. You needed quiet to hear it. You needed a moment on the edge of awakening to feel its presence fully. And then, the voice shows you something important. A door, small, unassuming, glowing with a pale silver light, appears at the center of the realm. This door is not like the others. It does not represent a belief, nor a memory, nor a story from your past. This door is the passage between your inner world and your waking life. It is the place where the voice travels each morning, speaking to you in those final seconds before consciousness returns. You approach the door slowly. As you stand before it, the voice becomes a steady hum in your chest. You reach out, touching the surface of the door with your fingertips. It feels warm, almost alive. The silver glow intensifies, responding to the recognition rising within you. The voice speaks with perfect clarity now, and its message settles into you like a truth you never again will forget. You are not meant to hear the voice only in dreams. You are meant to hear it in your waking life too. And tonight, you are learning how. The door opens with a soft whisper, and a wave of golden light washes over you. It fills your vision, your breath, your awareness. In this light, you sense the merging of worlds, the inner and the outer, the whispered and the spoken, the forgotten and the remembered. As it surrounds you, one realization becomes clear. The voice you hear just before awakening is not a visitor from another realm. It is the bridge between the world you know and the world you come from. It is the guide that leads you back to yourself. And tonight, for the first time, you are ready to walk with it fully. There comes a point in every inner journey where the knowing can no longer remain hidden, where the awareness you have touched must ripple outward into your waking world. It happens quietly at first, like a soft vibration beneath the surface of your life, almost imperceptible to the untrained mind. But now you are no longer untrained. You have walked through the corridors of your inner temple. You have stood before the scroll that remembers you. You have listened to the voice that rises just before awakening. And because of this, everything is already different. The shift does not begin with action. It begins with perception. A single thought, when seen clearly, changes the entire landscape of your inner world. And as your inner world changes, the outer world rearranges itself to match the new blueprint. This is not magic in the fantastical sense. It is simply the law of resonance. The truth that your reality cannot help but reflect the frequency you hold within. Tonight, as you drift deeper into the softness of sleep, that frequency is being rewritten from the inside out. Imagine yourself standing once again in the luminous realm you entered through the doorway of silver light. Only now, it is more radiant, more coherent, more structured than before. The currents of color that flowed freely now move with intention, spiraling in patterns that resemble a living mandala. Each line of light represents a belief you are choosing. Each curve traces the path of a new thought, forming in the depth of your subconscious. You walk through this mandala slowly, feeling the gentle pull of alignment drawing you toward its center. The voice speaks again, not as a whisper this time, but as a steady presence, threading itself through your breath. It tells you that transformation is not something you force. It is something you allow. Like a flower blooming because the conditions are right, your inner self unfolds not from pressure, but from readiness. And you are ready now. The voice can feel it in the way your awareness moves, in the softness of your breath, in the stillness you have cultivated. It guides you toward the center of the mandala, where the architecture of your new reality is forming. In the center lies a pool of light, clear, calm, gently rippling with every thought you hold. You kneel beside it, sensing that this pool is not made of water, but of pure intention. When you look into its surface, you do not see your physical reflection. You see reflections of possibilities, each one hovering like a faint image waiting to solidify. Some are bright, filled with the energy of potential. Others are dim, fading because they no longer align with the truth rising inside you. The voice invites you to immerse your hands in the pool. When you do, warmth spreads up your arms, through your chest, into the core of your being. You feel memories dissolving, the kinds of memories that are not moments, but patterns. Old agreements you made with fear, with doubt, with self-limitation begin to loosen like knots unraveling in warm water. They dissolve without struggle, without pain, because your mind is no longer holding them. You have outgrown them quietly, naturally, inevitably. The ripples in the pool shift, showing you a new image, yourself, but lighter. Yourself, but clearer. Yourself, but free from the weight you once believed was permanent. The voice tells you that this version of you is not a fantasy, nor an ideal. It is the most natural expression of your being, the version that emerges when you stop carrying stories that were never yours to carry. You watch this reflection breathe, and as it breathes, the air around you brightens, filling with golden light. Your thoughts become slow, spacious, almost transparent. Each one rises like a bubble, and you can see through it. You see its origin. You see whether it belongs to the old blueprint or the new one. The voice guides you to choose consciously for the first time. This thought stays. This thought dissolves. This thought becomes a seed. Without judgment, you begin to curate the garden of your inner world. And in doing so, you feel the outer world waiting, preparing to rearrange itself around your choices. A soft wind moves through the realm. It sounds like whispers layered over whispers, 1,000 echoes merging into a single tone. You realize that this is not wind at all. It is the sound of your new thoughts aligning, harmonizing, forming a frequency strong enough to reshape the field of your life. The voice explains that every belief you hold emits a tone. Some tones pull in experiences. Some repel them. Some distort what you see. Some clarify it. Tonight, as your body rests in the physical world, your inner tone is being tuned to truth. Walking away from the pool, you notice a path forming beneath your feet. It is made of light, woven from everything you have released and everything you have accepted. You follow it deeper into the realm, and with each step, the air becomes thicker with significance. You feel your cells responding as though they are listening. The voice tells you that this is not imagination. Your physical body is receiving the signals you are experiencing here. It is rewriting its patterns even as you sleep. The path leads you to an archway formed from 2 pillars of soft gold. When you stand beneath it, the world shifts. The colors around you melt and reform into a new landscape, a vast plain of rolling light stretching endlessly in all directions. In this place, your desires appear as stars suspended in the air. You reach toward one, and it brightens. You pull away, and it fades. The voice tells you that desire is not longing for what you lack. Desire is recognition of what is already aligned with your soul. You reach for another star. It glows warmly, pulsing with a rhythm that matches your heartbeat. When you touch it, the star dissolves into a stream of light that flows into your chest, joining the warmth already there. You understand instantly. This desire is not external. It is internal. It is not something you must chase. It is something you must become. And the becoming begins now, in this realm, through the alignment of your inner world. The plane shifts again, forming a spiral path that leads downward, deeper into a valley of shimmering darkness. Not a darkness of fear, but a darkness of potential. The kind that exists before creation, before form, before identity. You follow the spiral, each step pulling you closer to the heart of your transformation. The voice walks with you, its presence woven into your breath. It tells you that the darkness is not your enemy. The darkness is the soil of your becoming. At the bottom of the valley stands a tree made of shadow and light intertwined. Its branches reach upward like arms, and its roots glow beneath the surface. This tree is the symbol of your transformation. Its branches represent everything you aspire to become. Its roots represent everything you have healed. You place your hand on its trunk, and instantly the tree responds. The branches brighten, the roots deepen. The entire valley reverberates with a low hum that feels like the pulse of the universe. The voice tells you that this tree grows each time you listen to your inner voice. It grows each time you choose truth over fear, intuition over noise, alignment over resistance. And tonight, it grows because you are allowing yourself to hear the guidance that rises just before awakening. Not as a fleeting whisper, but as a constant presence. Light rises from the roots, traveling up the trunk, spilling into the branches, until the entire tree becomes a pillar of radiance. The valley transforms with it, becoming a place of pure clarity. In this clarity, you feel something shift inside your body in the physical world. Your breath deepens, your muscles release, your heartbeat steadies. The connection between the realms strengthens. You are no longer a visitor here. You are a co-creator. The voice asks you to step back and witness what you have become. You do. And what you see is not a version of yourself, separate from your waking identity. It is the truest version of you, the one that has been speaking through those liminal moments just before dawn, the one you are finally ready to embody. The valley begins to dissolve, not because it is ending, but because you have integrated it. The light rises into you, filling every part of your awareness. The tree becomes a memory etched into your being. The stars of desire fade into your chest. The mandala restructures itself around your breath. And as the realm fades, the voice speaks one final truth that settles into the deepest part of your subconscious. Tonight, you are not waiting. Tonight, you are becoming. Tonight, the reality you step into is already aligning itself around the frequency you now hold. The shift has begun. Long before you learned to speak, before the first memories of your childhood took shape, before your mind was capable of naming the world around you, there existed a presence that watched over the doorway between your dreams and your waking life. It did not speak in words, nor appear in form. It was simply there, like the warmth of a flame you cannot see, but can always feel. This presence is known in ancient stories as the keeper of the threshold, the guardian of the voice that rises just before you awaken. The oldest myths say the keeper was born from the first breath of consciousness ever released into the universe. When the cosmos was still formless, when light and shadow were indistinguishable, a subtle vibration emerged, a note so pure it split silence into existence. From that vibration, awareness was born, and from awareness came the keeper, a being made not of flesh nor spirit, but of attention itself. Wherever a soul prepared to enter or leave a world, the keeper stood watch. Tonight, as you drift deeper into the folds of your own inner world, you find yourself walking through a vast desert of dusk-colored sand. The sky above you is neither day nor night, but something suspended between the two, a twilight that never ends. The air is cool, the wind gentle, carrying with it faint whispers that sound like fragments of forgotten prayers. Each step you take leaves no footprint, as though the desert recognizes you as one of its own. In the distance, you see a structure rising from the horizon. At first, it appears to be a ruin, ancient and crumbling. But as you approach, its form shifts subtly, revealing that it is not decaying at all. It is simply too old to resemble anything the waking mind can easily understand. The walls are carved with symbols that ripple as you look at them, rearranging themselves like living text. The entrance is a narrow archway formed from stone that glows with the dim radiance of memory. You walk toward it, feeling the air change as you draw closer. It grows heavier, but not with weight, heavy with significance, as though everything you ever were and everything you will ever become has been waiting here, condensed into this single moment. The archway stands silent, yet you sense it recognizing you, acknowledging your arrival. When you pass beneath it, the world behind you dissolves into darkness, and the world before you brightens like a flame being coaxed into life. Inside, the structure reveals itself to be a vast hall with no end. Pillars of shadow stretch toward a ceiling that glows faintly like the underside of a cloud reflecting moonlight. The floor beneath you is smooth, cold, and reflective, not like stone, but like the surface of still water. As you take another step, your reflection appears beneath you, but it is not your physical reflection. It is your inner self, the self that hears the voice each morning, the self that has waited patiently, faithfully, gently, for you to arrive here, fully aware. The hall shifts. The pillars begin to pulse with a slow rhythm, almost like breath. At the far end, a figure begins to take shape. It does not walk, but glides across the reflective floor, as though carried by the same breath that animates the hall itself. Its form is neither male nor female, neither young nor old. Sometimes it looks like shadow. Sometimes it looks like light. Sometimes it appears as a silhouette of you, as though it is sculpted from your own consciousness. This is the Keeper. You do not feel fear, you feel recognition. The same recognition you feel in those moments, just before awakening, when a whisper brushes against your awareness, telling you something without words. You have always known this presence, even if only in sensation. It stops before you, and the hall grows still. The Keeper does not speak with a mouth. Instead, the entire hall vibrates with its message, as though the walls, the floor, the pillars, and even the air itself are carrying its voice. The sound is low and warm, resonant in a way that seems to bypass your ears and settle directly into your chest. You have walked the inner pathways, the voice says, and you have listened. That is why you are here. The Keeper raises one hand, and the reflective floor ripples outward like a disturbed pool. From its surface, images rise, memories you forgot, moments of intuition you ignored, messages delivered to you in the space between dreams and waking. You see yourself at age 7, waking from a dream with a strange certainty that you were protected. You see yourself at 14, hearing a quiet voice urging you to choose differently, even as the world around you pressed you in another direction. You see yourself at 22, waking with the phrase, "Not this path," echoing in your mind. A phrase you dismissed, but felt deeply. The images fade, replaced by others. Images of the future. Not predictions, but possibilities. Paths that open when the inner voice becomes clear. Choices that align when you listen. Lives that unfold smoothly when you trust. Each image sparkles like a reflection of starlight on water, hovering briefly before rippling away. The Keeper lowers its hand. For all your life, the voice continues, you believed you were alone in your thoughts. But the voice that rises before you awaken is not the chatter of the mind. It is the remembering of the soul. You feel a warmth gather behind your sternum, expanding slowly outward. It feels like truth, a truth you have always sensed but never articulated. The Keeper turns and gestures toward a door at the center of the hall. This door is unlike the others you have seen in your inner world. It is made not of stone or light or shadow, but of something that feels alive, like a membrane between dimensions. Its surface ripples gently, pulsing with the faint rhythm of your heartbeat. This, the Keeper says, is the door you pass through each morning, though you do not remember walking it. It is the boundary between your inner knowing and your outer identity, between the reality you create and the reality you accept. between the truth you hold and the truth you live. You approach the door slowly, feeling the hall resonate with every step. When you stand before it, the membrane reacts to your presence, forming subtle patterns that look like waves of breath. The keeper stands behind you, its presence steady. You have come far enough to learn what lies beyond, it says. But to cross this door with awareness, you must understand what the voice truly is. Silence fills the hall. The keeper extends its hand again, and from the center of the door, a sphere of light emerges. It floats between you and the keeper, spinning slowly. Within the sphere, you see fragments, images, sounds, colors, sensations. A mother holding a newborn, a traveler walking under starlight, a monk carving a symbol into stone, a child closing their eyes and hearing something soft and warm rise inside them. This light, the keeper says, is you, across lifetimes, across forms, across every identity you have ever worn. The sphere expands, surrounding you with a gentle glow. Inside it, the fragments merge into a single awareness, a thread that has woven through every existence you have ever lived. You feel the thread vibrate softly, like a plucked string that resonates in every direction. The voice you hear just before awakening, the keeper says, is the part of you that has never forgotten the whole. The sphere dissolves into your chest, becoming one with your breath. Warmth spreads through your limbs, through your mind, through the quiet space behind your eyes. You feel whole. The keeper places its hand on your shoulder. When you wake, it says, you will hear the voice more clearly, not only in the final second before the world returns, but in every moment you choose truth over noise. The hall begins to fade, its pillars dissolving into soft ribbons of shadow. The membrane door pulses brighter, drawing you toward it. You step forward, and the surface ripples around you, like water parting for a swimmer. The keeper's voice echoes one final time as your body crosses through. You are ready to carry the inner voice into the waking world, and the waking world is ready for you. Light surrounds you, the threshold opens, and the next breath you take carries the resonance of everything you have remembered tonight. The light around you softens, becoming warm and steady, like the final glow of a candle before it melts into quiet. You feel your breath deepening, not from effort, but from release. The journey inward has brought you back to the center of yourself, to the place where the voice that rises just before awakening begins. The threshold is no longer distant. It is no longer a mystery. It is simply part of you, waiting patiently in the quiet spaces between thoughts. Breathe slowly. Let the exhale fall from your body like a long sigh you didn't know you were holding. Let the inhale arrive gently, as though the air itself is remembering how to meet you. Everything tonight has led you to this moment, the temples of your subconscious, the mandala of your thoughts, the valley of transformation, the keeper of the threshold, the door of remembrance. All of it converges here, in the softness of this breath. You are safe. Feel the truth of that settle into your chest. The world outside may shift and break and rebuild itself 1,000 times, but right now, in this quiet space, you are held. The old stories have loosened. The old fears have thinned. The old patterns have softened into nothing. You have stepped beyond them, not through force, but through remembering what was always deeper than them. You are chosen, not in the sense of destiny, but in the sense of readiness. You have chosen yourself. You have chosen to listen. You have chosen to follow the subtle pull of the voice that has guided you across every dawn of your life. That choice is what opens the door. That choice is what changes the world you wake into. Feel the strength of that truth rising through your spine, warm and quiet and real. You are becoming. All the shifts in your inner world tonight are already forming ripples in your waking reality. They will show themselves in ways small and grand. A thought that once felt heavy will now dissolve easily. A decision that once caused confusion will suddenly feel obvious. A moment of doubt will break open to reveal clarity inside it. This is the beginning of your becoming, not a metaphor, but a physiological truth written into your breath, your heartbeat, your cells. Let your breath slow. Let your thoughts soften until they dissolve into the gentle hum beneath them. The voice within you is clearer now. Not loud, not demanding, simply present, constant, familiar. A companion that has waited at the edge of every morning, whispering the truth you are finally ready to hear tonight. Sleep now. Let the weight of your body sink into the mattress. Let the warmth of the blanket settle around you. Let the world drift away like a shoreline, receding into mist. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to hold, nothing left to question. The inner world is still turning, still healing, still shaping the path before you, and you are carried by it effortlessly. The code is rewriting. Every breath rewires the pathways of your mind. Every moment of rest strengthens the new frequency you now embody. You do not need to think about it. You do not need to understand it. Transformation is already occurring. The seeds planted tonight will continue to bloom long after sleep has taken you. You are watched. You are guided. You are remembered. You are the author of your reality. Not tomorrow. Not when you are stronger. Not when you are healed. Now. In this breath. In this softness. In this moment where the boundary between yourself and the world grows thin. Feel the quiet power rising within you, gentle but unshakable. It is the truth that has waited behind every version of you, the truth that speaks just before awakening. Rest deeper. Let the final traces of wakefulness melt from your body. Let the dreams unfold. Let the voice guide you inward, further still, into the vastness that has always belonged to you. The door between worlds remains open. The path remains clear. The keeper continues to watch over the threshold as you drift into sleep. And as your breath settles into its softest rhythm, one final truth rises within you, a whisper carrying the weight of everything you have remembered. You are not lost. You are not late. You are becoming who you have always been. Sleep now. The story continues within you.